Minister of Education Janelle Powell announced on Thursday that no face-to-face learning will take place in the Federation's schools for the remainder of the school year due to the community spread of the coronavirus in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Pursuant to a statement that I would have made last Friday, the 28th of May, indicating the position as it relates to schools, I am now making a further statement, and this comes as a result of the recent communication and confirmation of community spread of COVID-19 here in St. Kitts and Nevis. The Ministry of Education has taken the decision that we will not resume school for the purposes of face-to-face instruction for the remainder of the school year. This is as a result of, as I said, the community spread, and the fact that we as a ministry do not think that the risk is worth it to open schools in light of everything that is happening, bearing in mind that we would be closing schools naturally at the end of this month. The result of this is that for primary school children, the curriculum reform that we have been undergoing for some time now has allowed for continuous assessment of those children throughout the academic year. And so they will not have any end of term or end of year examinations. Their performances will be based and assessed based on the continuous assessment that has taken place over the course of the year.
Speaking at the Prime Minister's press conference on Thursday, Minister Powell also provided an update for secondary school students.
In relation to secondary schools, the last week we would have naturally begun examinations for some of those students. And so those students who would have been preparing prior to that and even during the last 2 weeks of lockdown or of closure through the online modality will still be able to write their common examinations. The ministry will indicate to parents and students the modality in which they will have that opportunity. We will also be prioritizing our fifth form students who are about to take or write the CXC examinations. A recent release from CXC would have indicated that those examinations have been pushed back in relation to their start date to the 28th of June. And so we will prioritize the preparation of our fifth form students in terms of face-to-face interaction for preparation and writing of those exams.
The minister said early childhood centers will remain closed. Schools were closed after midterm breaks almost 2 weeks ago after positive cases of the coronavirus began increasing, stemming from a hotel worker and a visitor from Argentina who both tested positive. Up to news time Thursday, there were 26 active cases of COVID-19 in St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm Andre Huey reporting for SKN Newsline.
All options seem to be on the table as health authorities and government search to obtain COVID-related vaccines to continue the plan to reach herd immunity for St. Kitts and Nevis. Speaking at the Prime Minister's press conference on 3rd June, Minister of Health Akila Byron Nisbet indicated that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is among those being considered.
Indeed, we are exploring an option to the African Medical Supply Platform to be able to receive doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So that option is available to us in St. Kitts and Nevis. In terms of AstraZeneca, we continue to work with the COVAX facility. This morning I would have attended a meeting of the PAHO region and we discussed the next round of doses to be delivered through the COVAX facility. At that time, COVAX was only looking at the doses that they have procured themselves outside of what the US would have donated. So at that time, they would have indicated that they do have doses and ready for the next round of being able to provide another 20% to persons, the countries that would have signed up to COVAX, which means for us another 21,600 through that channel in COVAX. They have given a time frame of between July and September. The specific dates will be communicated afterwards.
The health minister revealed also that the United States has made a contribution of vaccines to be distributed via the COVAX facility, and CARICOM countries are among those listed to receive the US vaccines. Glenn Bart, SKN Newsline.
Elliot's Funeral Parlor is the first licensed embalmer in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We have a friendly and professional staff. At Elliot's Funeral Parlor, we offer a wide range of packages from $6,500. Homegoing service at chapel, locally made caskets, tailoring of outfit for deceased of your choice, wake, overnight with slideshow, funeral, death announcement, obituary, booklets, family pin-ons, memorial books, preparation of funeral arrangements, wreath, fresh and artificial. For further information, call 469-3298, 664-2007 or 660-0186. Elliot's Funeral Parlor in Gingerland, Nevis. Dedicated to those we serve.
I need some veggies for dinner. Let me just check the amount of sodium in this can. Oh no, this is too much. Let me try our next option. They did say it's healthy to consume less salt. This is much better. I am salt smart.
Football is back, and the St. Kitts and Nevis Football Association will be bringing you live football on its website, www.sknfa.com, with Premier League Live. Without fans in the stadium due to COVID-19 protocols, you can now watch every single Premier League match this season on www.sknfa.com and click on Live TV. Games are shown live on every match day with halftime and post-game shows. It's Premier League Live. Commentary, analysis, action. Never miss a game.
Bless up, Dejo here, and I'm doing my part in the fight against COVID-19 by following all safety protocols and, most importantly, rolling up my sleeve for the vaccine. So I'm encouraging you to do the same, because that's our best shot of protecting ourselves, our family, and our friends. So don't wait, vaccinate. Let's roll up to roll out.
Auto Plus Car Wash, located on the College Street Gut, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Bring your car to Auto Plus Car Wash to remove water stains, wiper marks. Get your doors, roof panel cleaned, seat floor mats, buffing, headlights, and engine wash. You get quality service at the best price at Auto Plus Car Wash. They really care for your car. Call 765-5140 or visit them on the College Street Gut, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Auto Plus Car Wash, where the service is number one.
With an IMF team due to hold Article 4 consultations with the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris said the IMF and the Federation are moving forward in a healthy relationship. In 2018, the government refused authorization for the IMF to publish their consultation findings due to what the Financial Secretary said were inaccuracies in the report. According to the Prime Minister, the country stayed put on its stance on principle, and he had meetings on the issue with the IMF.
I myself have met with the leadership of the IMF New and PASS in relation to that matter, and they, in their way, apologize for those particular developments, and we all commit that we will work better going forward to overcome the intransigence which we had experienced so long ago. That is the past. The IMF has come into the country this year. This is 3 years. So there is nothing to gain by going to recap 2018, nothing to gain by the IMF, other than they say their posture will be different, other than to say that they have a new leadership to engage the countries, other than to say we are not the only country to have had difficulties with reporting. And those countries took a similar position.
The 2021 IMF Article 4 consultation will occur putting the past situation to rest, the Prime Minister indicated, saying there is no issue between the organization and the government of St. Kitts and Nevis.
So we have no difficulty with them, neither do they with us. That matter is settled, as it were, long ago, and we are moving forward in a healthy relationship with the IMF. Indeed, I have been involved in significant panels with them. They have called me to some. I didn't have the time because the exigencies of managing this small, complex country have overweighed me, and I therefore did not have time to deal with some of the matters in which they wanted us to provide leadership.
The IMF Article 4 consultation examines the workings, strengths, and weaknesses of the country's economy and provides a report on their findings. The consultation takes place between 9th of June and the 22nd of June 2021. Glenn Barrett, SKN Newsline.
This week, the second round of mass testing of students at some of the schools on St. Kitts continues as health authorities continue COVID-19 contact tracing. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Hazel Laws at a recent NEOC briefing said these tests are according to the testing protocol of persons in quarantine or those who have been identified in contact tracing procedure.
So once these tests return, if the tests return negative, then the students and the teachers will be officially released from quarantine. Same thing will be done at the Charles E. Mills Secondary School. Again, the team, we went there last holiday weekend. The students and teachers, they got their first test. Now the second testing will take place this week, the second COVID-19 end of quarantine test.
There are over 20 active cases of COVID-19 in St. Kitts and Nevis, and health authorities have confirmed that there is community spread in the Federation.
As we have heard from the CMO and the medical chief of staff, we are currently following active cases of COVID-19 within our communities. We knew that this would, and we have been preparing for this to happen. So yes, we are following active cases within our communities, and we are asking persons to stay vigilant with the protocols.
Authorities continue to encourage persons to take the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, with over 60% of the target population already receiving the first dose. June 2nd was the final day for persons to get the first dose, as the remaining vaccines will be used to fully vaccinate persons scheduled to get their second dose. I'm Abby Diskin reporting for SKN Newsline.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips.
You know, it's me, Mr. HE, and I'm here with one message: roll up to roll out. We all know how difficult things have been during this COVID-19 pandemic. While we continue to wash our hands, wear a face mask, and practice social distancing, how about we take it one step further and get vaccinated? Call the nearest health center to find out if you are eligible to be vaccinated, or you can contact the Ministry of Health at any one of these numbers down below. Don't be discouraged by the negativity. We all have a role to play in protecting this federation. So, St. Kitts and Nevis, let's roll up to roll out.
Stay abreast with news on St. Martin with SMN News. Visit www.smn-news.com for up-to-date news, scoops, opinions, and hard-hitting facts. SMN News, we tell it like it is. Visit our website www.smn-news.com.
It's the new and improved SKN Newsline Android mobile app. With the SKN Newsline app, you can watch your news reports, the SK Newsline newscast, sports, special features, and so much more. You can also send us a WhatsApp or call us directly. Go in the Google Play Store, search SK Newsline, and download the app today. The SK Newsline mobile app. News on the go.
Junior, can you get popcorn, please?
Don't tell Shane, Dev. Want some to plead?
I can get some starch. More, please. Boy, take a popcorn from Junie.
Rising flood waters has affected over 1,500 persons in Region 2, about 600 in Region 3, 2,800 in Region 6, and 1,000 in Regions 9 and 10. In total, some 6,900 Guyanese have faced the harsh effects of the torrential rains, above normal high tides, and the flood waters. Providing an update on Wednesday was Director General of the Civil Defense Commission, CDC, Lieutenant Colonel Kester Craig. According to Lieutenant Craig, in many regions, poor drainage caused by damage, lack of maintenance, and insufficient infrastructures worsened the flooding situation in Guyana.
The assessment revealed that areas remain inundated even when the tide is at its lowest and lands could not drain efficiently since many were within basins which were already waterlogged.
Following assessments by the CDC and other agencies, the countrywide farming community was hard hit and reported loss of crops and livestock.
The National Drainage Irrigation Authority, the MMADA, and local government bodies were able to deploy equipment to conduct remedial work such as the clearing of drains and outfalls.
Providing a regional breakdown, Craig said that in Region 1, all 3 sub-districts were affected. In Region 2, there was flooding along the coast, Supernau Creek, and Pomeroon River. Craig said that the Regional Democratic Council in that area was thankfully able to effect some drainage works. Turning to Region 3, 4 communities remain flooded. A pump was also deployed. In Region 5, 6 communities recorded above normal levels of water.
20 machines have been deployed to assist with drain and clearing of all clogged areas. In Region 7, no flooding reported in Bartico at this time. However, Devil Hole has about 10 to 14 shops that are affected. Jawala and Kaku farmlands and homes are affected, and some other homes along the Upper Mazaruni area.
As of Wednesday, Craig confirmed that El Paso in Region 8 was still underwater. In some sections of Regions 9 and 10, floodwaters has receded by at least 2 inches. However, in Rockstone, Kokwani, and Roraima, waters remain extremely high. According to the CDC, Region 4 had no major reports of flooding. To date, some 14,500 hampers have been distributed to the various regions. According to Craig, the CDC, along with the government, continues to closely monitor the situation. Reporting for the HGP Nightly News, Amel Griffith.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness has relaxed the measures aimed at limiting the spread of COVID-19. Speaking in Parliament this evening, Mr. Holness announced changes to the curfew hours as well as a reduction in the quarantine days for fully vaccinated people. Now our reporter Vashan Brown joins us in studio with more details. Vashan.
Thanks so much, Herman. Now, the Prime Minister was addressing Parliament on a day when Jamaica's COVID-19 positivity rate declined to 6.6%. Now, the World Health Organization has recommended countries aim for a positivity rate of 5% or lower. So, not quite there yet, but the Prime Minister pointed out that the numbers are heading in the right direction. At the same time, Mr. Holness says the number of new hospitalizations is of concern and that will be watched closely. So now, new measures for 4 weeks. First up, the weekday curfew will be 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. starting on June 3 to the morning of July 1.
For weekends, Madam Speaker, the curfew will begin at 8 p.m. on Saturdays and on 2 p.m. on Sundays and end at 5 a.m. the following morning. So we have done, Madam Speaker, a recrafting of the hours to allow for greater commerce.
So essentially an extra 2 hours on Saturdays and the curfew will remain the same for Sundays. Now the Prime Minister says travel has been increasing globally in light of vaccination efforts and he's announced changes to the country's quarantine requirements.
The requirement for all incoming travelers to present a negative COVID-19 test conducted within 3 days of travel remains in place. However, we have reduced the quarantine requirement for fully vaccinated persons to 8 days. To be clear, we do not consider persons fully vaccinated until 2 weeks after they receive the full dosage of the vaccine, meaning both doses in the case of a 2-dose vaccine or 1 dose in the case of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine manufactured by Johnson & Johnson.
Now, as for the stay-at-home orders for people over the age of 60, that will remain in place. However, those in that age group who are fully vaccinated will be exempted. The gathering limit also remains at 10. As for beaches and rivers, well, they will open come June 3, but strict COVID-19 protocols will also have to be followed. As for churches,
Madam Speaker, the maximum number of persons who may be physically present to facilitate worship or electronic broadcast, including officiating clergy and technical support personnel, will be increased from 30 to 50 persons effective June 3, 2020. As a reminder, normal worship or memorial services are permitted, but no crusades, conferences, or conventions are to be held. I just want to be clear on this, Madam Speaker. The way it is written in the DRMA is that the churches are allowed to have 1 person for every 36 square feet of church space, up to a maximum of 50 persons. So even if your church is massive, the maximum that you can have for now is 50.
So Vashan, it has been a hot topic for the past week. What did the Prime Minister say about the reopening of the entertainment sector?
Well, as you pointed out, Herman, the reopening of the entertainment sector has been the subject of discussions in the past few days. Mr. Holness says his administration knows the impact COVID-19 is having on the sector.
We are engaged in discussions with the industry with a view to agreeing the appropriate protocols that could facilitate a limited reopening of the industry in the summer. Madam Speaker, you will recall that in our previous attempt to allow entertainment to open up in the summer of 2020, was one of the factors that resulted in our first spike. The discussions have been constructive and encouraging, and the industry has expressed a commitment to implementing strict protocols to allow it to operate in a safe and sustainable way.
In this part of Gaza known as Al-Wahda, 42 people were killed. Half of them belonged to one family. The Al-Kolak lost 22 people across 3 generations in their home.
At the beginning we heard a strong sound and our home violently shook. After that we gathered in the center away from the windows and furniture. The second strike was stronger and the walls began cracking. Soon after the third strike we found our home falling. We lived on the 3rd floor and suddenly we were on the ground.
Aside from anger and death, shrapnel and rubble are all that's left in this neighborhood. The head of the Red Cross is here to see the destruction for himself.
Many civilians, women, men and children paid the ultimate cost. The magnitude of this destruction here is of course shocking and heartbreaking, and it's an indicator of the number of years that will be needed to build again those private homes here and in many other places in the Gaza Strip.
254 people died in the offensive. The ceasefire between Hamas and Israel has held for 2 weeks.
But the reality for Gazans is very much the same as before the conflict. There is a lack of water, electricity, and basic infrastructure. The only commercial border with Israel used to supply goods, aid, and fuel is now closed.
Well, the humanitarian situation in Gaza was already challenging before this recent cycle of escalation. Of course, this 11th day of intense fighting is adding another layer of challenges in the many fields that are of interest to the ICRC, be it the supply of drinking water, the evacuation of sewage, but also all the support, hospitals, health centers, the Palestine Red Crescent Society.
For the Al-Kolak family, they will try to rebuild like they have many times before.
Israel attacked without any notice or responsibility. They don't care about human rights or safety of civilians, or even prior notice. They didn't call us like they did for other buildings. We were asleep and suddenly our home fell over us.
The price of a new home is out of budget for now, but it's nothing like the price they've already paid. Yumna Syed, Al Jazeera, Gaza.
Tensions between Ethiopia and the United States at an all-time high after Washington's decision to impose restrictions on economic and security assistance to the East African country. It's due to the ongoing conflict in the Tigray region, which has killed thousands. But Ethiopia's government says it doesn't welcome outside interference.
The humanitarian situation is fundamentally Ethiopia's concern. It's Ethiopia that has to deal with its internal affairs, and what is expected of others is actually to support Ethiopia so as to strongly deal with the situations.
The UN says more than 90% of people in Tigray need emergency food aid. The conflict has caused some 2 million people to flee Tigray.
Ethiopia treasures its relationship with the US and believes that sanctions are not necessary for the US to send its message across the country, especially at this particular time when Ethiopians are preparing to exercise their democratic right by going to the polls.
The US Embassy in Addis Ababa said Wednesday the Tigray situation is deteriorating rapidly and called for an end to the fighting and humanitarian access to prevent famine. European countries also backed the call.